Today, I want to talk to you about shit. In particular, Great Dane shit. So, my Great Dane Cooper, and a little story about his poop and the role of multitasking and how it almost ruined my life. So, my husband Steve has the job to go into the backyard and pick up Cooper's occasional poop in the morning. And as I was taking our daughter Ryo to school, I noticed him scrolling his phone, reading emails as he's meandering his way through the backyard. I didn't think anything of it. Later on that afternoon, Ryo has a play date with her best friend Ella. They're in the backyard. I quickly go inside to get them water bottles, and I come back outside, and whoosh, all I smell is poo. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I look, and there's poo all over my beautiful interlocking patio bricks, everywhere. And the two little girls are standing there, and Ryo goes, Mama, Ella stepped in Cooper's poo. And I said, okay, but why is it all over my patio? And Ella said, I didn't know how to get it off my runners, so I just wiped it all over the patio. So now I'm like dry heaving, and I'm crying, so I'm multitasking my emotions. And I'm thinking a lot of thoughts about Steve. And so I get out the bleach and I get out the Lysol wipes, and then I have to get out the toothbrush and wash the ridges in the back of Ella's little runner for 20 minutes, and I get everything all cleaned up, and I go to walk it out of my backyard, and what do I step in? But another piece of poo in my brand new Birkenstocks. So right at that moment, I realized I had two choices. Right? I could pack up that poo and I could drive it to Steve's work. Another equally satisfying option was to take that poo and to shove it into his favorite runners, right? But realistically, I realized we had a system failure in our family. Multitasking was not working for our family. Multitasking was not working. This is what happens when we multitask, right? Everyone thinks that multitasking is some badge of honor, and it's not. All multitasking is rapidly switching from task to task, and it's a really inefficient way to do your work. Every time we switch tasks, we're disrupting our creativity, we're interrupting our focus, but most importantly, your brain's attention span doesn't automatically flow from one task to another. We call it attention residue. So although you may have jumped to your second task, your brain is still stuck on that first task. And all that switching back and forth can take your brain up to 23 minutes to adjust. So that means when we're multitasking, we're working harder to produce less. Multitasking is the most inefficient and ineffective way to organize your time, your career, your household, and your workspace. And yet, it's everywhere. It's omnipresent, and we all think we're really good at it, and we're not. So I want to tell you about this really cool study that they did that looked at multitasking. So, these psychologists in the States wanted to understand what happens when people walk and talk on their phones. They also hired a clown to ride a unicycle in the same path as those people talking and walking on their phones. And then they asked them afterwards, did you notice anything interesting in your walk? No. Did you notice a clown on a unicycle? No. So what they found was that all the people who walked and talked on the phone did not register that there was a clown in their path. The people who walked and talked on the phone or who were looking through and scrolling through their phone walked slower made more random direction changes, took longer to get to their destination. But most importantly, what this shows us is that when you are multitasking, you are not processing information properly. The clown looked exactly like a clown. Huge hair, huge red nose, huge red feet on a unicycle. Nobody noticed it. Nobody noticed it, right? So, another interesting fact that we know about multitasking is office workers. The average office worker gets interrupted every 12 minutes. Half of those interruptions are self-imposed. So you're sitting at your desk, you're doing your work, and then all of a sudden you're like, is it gonna be cold tomorrow? I should check the weather. Does Aritzia have a sale going on right now? What about that? Let me check my credit card balance. And before you know it, you're switching tasks. Before you know it, your brain is doing attention residue, and it's taken you a long time to catch up. So, what do we know? That the more we multitask, the more we are developing the habit of distraction. Distraction. And we are destroying our ability to focus. Multitasking, if you only remember one thing, remember this: multitasking will not save you time. It will cost you time. So where do you want your focus to be? On your phone, or your career, or your bank account, or finding that new thing that brings you joy? So where is our time going?